This is the 2025 facelifted Tata Altroz, and in this video I detail out everything that's changed in the Altroz. Starting with the changes on the exterior, the front is being significantly redesigned with these LED DRLs, these LED headlamps, these LED fog lamps. The bumper has been completely redesigned, the grille is new, and you even get this slat, which is an aerodynamic slat which helps in increasing efficiency of the car. Now on the side profile there are three major changes. First is the alloy. The size remains the same at 16 inches, but this is now a more aerodynamically efficient design. The second is the indicator, which used to be here, has now moved on to the OVRM, and the third are these flush door handles, again adding to aerodynamic efficiency. Now at the rear there are just a couple of changes. For example, the rear bumper has been completely reprofiled and it now gets this connected LED tail lamp. All in all, the design of the Altroz looks a little bit more modern, and I can tell you that it looks better in person than it does in pictures. Now the interiors is where the entire dash has been completely relaid out. If you notice, this is now a 10.2-inch screen. The dash is very familiar to what you see in the Nexon with all the buttons. Like here, the wireless charger is here. They've added some soft touch materials to make the feel more premium. The steering is now borrowed from the Nexon or the Curve. The instrumental cluster is partially digital in this accomplished S variant, but the S Plus variant gets a full digital cluster, as you find in the Curve again. For comfort, if you see, it now has added thigh support, and the seats are also beige, again to add some premiumness to the cabin. And the sunroof still exists. In terms of additional features and safety, the car gets a 360-degree camera, 6 airbags as standard, ESP, SOS calling function, auto headlamps and wipers. And the voice activation from the previous car is also carried over. Okay Tata, open sunroof. Now as a rear passenger, you get this additional thigh support that you get in the front as well, and that makes sitting here a little bit more comfortable. Rest everything is more or less identical to the previous Altroz. You do get a USB Type-C charger here, the floor is flat, and the knee room is just about okay. Now how does the Tata Altroz facelift drive? Is it any different to the previous car? Something's obviously wrong. The rear seat belt is not on. It's that one, and I clearly can't reach it from here. Right, we can now get going. Finally, I can now talk about the driving of this car, and this car comes with three engines. One is the petrol engine, the 1.2-liter engine. Then there is the petrol and CNG duo engine, and what I'm driving is the diesel engine, the 1.5-liter engine. Now the engines have not changed from the pre-facelifted version, nor has their power, so this car still develops 89 bhp and 200 Newton meters of torque, which is enough for a car like this in normal driving conditions. It's not exhilarating in any manner, but it is primarily tuned for efficiency, and with all the aerodynamic bits that I also showed you outside, Tata has really ramped up their focus on getting more and more fuel efficiency from this car. Now because of the way we drive throughout the day, it's very difficult for me to give you a fuel efficiency figure, but I can tell you that on the highway to these small narrow roads, so far the car is right now giving approximately 20 kmpl, but of course this is not a good measure. But the biggest change that has been made, and I was talking to a Tata engineer in the morning, and the biggest change that they've made in this car is their focus on the NVH. They've worked very hard to ensure that the car has lesser vibrations, lesser noise filtering in through the cabin, and it shows, to the point that I feel it's a little bit easier to live inside an Altroz now. The noise insulation is a little better, so is the vibration. Even in this diesel engine, at even very low revs, the vibration doesn't really filter through. And most importantly, I think there has been a significant bump in the quality of the ride, because now the ride is sublime. It's beautiful. In fact, it is extremely comfortable and pliant, and this car, I believe, is now one of the better riding premium hatchbacks in the country. As for this manual gearbox, I'm quite glad that Tata is still offering a manual. The clutch is, I believe, slightly lighter than what it was on the pre-facelift generation. Maybe it's just a newer car, but it's definitely not as light as, let's say, a Baleno. That's definitely a difference. There are two driving modes that I can switch to. One is called Eco and one is called City. The primary difference that I can feel from that is that Eco feels a little bit more lazy, obviously tuned more towards efficiency. City has a little bit more, I don't want to say pep, but it is less lazy, and there is no sport mode as such in the car. So these are the two drive modes that you have to contend with. The steering also is, I think, light-ish, but I think the weight is quite good. It's a good balance between the lightness and also the heaviness when you are on a higher speed. But I still think, let's say, the Suzuki steering is a little bit more precise than this one. And also, I believe the alignment of this particular unit is slightly out because I can feel the car pulling slightly to the left. Mind you, this car has done just about 970 kilometers right now. The only new thing that Tata has brought to the Altroz is an AMT gearbox, which we are not driving today, so I can't tell you impressions about that, but that is available for you. And that is all about the driving impressions that we have for the Tata Altroz facelift, and it's improved marginally in multiple areas, not significantly in any area. There's not a lot to complain, and I think it's just got a little bit more comfortable, which I like. I wish there comes a racer in the future which will also enthuse people like us. So I've now swapped out the diesel Altroz for the CNG petrol Altroz just to get a sense of what this car feels like, and immediately there are 4 points that I can come up with right now. Number one, the clutch is lighter, which is obvious because it is a petrol car, so the clutch will be lighter than a diesel vehicle, but I think there is quite a significant difference between the lightness of the clutch. Number two, the diesel engine. Now I remember I said that the vibrations are a little less in the Altroz in general, but in this it's far lesser than it is in the diesel. The diesel engine itself, I believe, has its own vibrations, which causes the cabin to have those vibrations that filter through, which does not happen in this. But at the same time, because the power is much lesser, it's about 78 bhp, the car feels a little bit more sluggish. So which means that, so while the diesel had the initial lag, this has the lag slightly above 2500 rpm. That's when it starts losing a little bit of steam. And fourthly, and the most importantly, the boot space in this is significantly lesser, simply because it's housing those CNG tanks. I just swapped out our diesel car for this CNG car just to give you a bit of an impression of how the Tata Altroz CNG petrol duo feels like. Back to our main car. It's prudent to remember that the premium hatchback segment now only comprises of the i20, the Altroz and the Baleno and Glanza, which are basically twins. But in this segment, Tata gives the maximum amount of engines with a petrol engine, a diesel engine and a petrol and CNG engine, and even the maximum amount of transmissions with a manual gearbox, a DCT gearbox, an AMT gearbox. Combine all of this and Tata Altroz gives you the maximum amount of options to choose for yourself. And right now we do not even know whether the racer model is going to come with this Altroz or not. If it does, it's going to be yet another engine option. So all in all, the Tata Altroz is definitely worth a look if you're in the market for a premium hatchback. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the Evo India channel. It helps us when you give us your support. And if you have any further questions about the Tata Altroz, do drop it in the comments and we'll make sure we get back to you with our answers. Yeah.